Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Michael's Corner. Tonight, I will be interviewing a special guest. This is the wrestler that I know less of, and it's an opportunity to get to know this particular wrestler very well. Um, his name is Jared Thumb. JT Energy requested that I do an interview with him. But before I bring my guest on, just so you know, Jared does live, you know, live in the area where he doesn't have reception, very good reception. So he's out in the woods somewhere. So just bear with me. He might have a little internet problem. So I want to just bring that up ahead of time. So all right. With that being said, don't forget to follow me on social media. At Facebook is Michael's Corner. Twitter is at Michael Pam. And YouTube is Michael's Wrestling Channel. And I would like to give a shout out to Kayfabe Toys. That is my new favorite company. I gotta give them a shout out. You can follow them on social media. I believe follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. There's another company I want to give a shout out to is the Bully Brand Clothing Club. Company. Excuse me, Bully Brand Clothing Company. They work diligently as well. So you can follow them on social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I gotta give one more shout out, and that is the Indie Talk with Jaren and Jesse. They also work diligently. You can follow them on social media as well, Facebook and Instagram. So let's not waste any more time. I'm going to bring in my guest now. Hello.
Hey, I'm here.
Hey, how's it going?
All fine and dandy. You said I was out in the woods. I made my way to the city, so I got all this going on behind me.
Oh, that's good.
So I'm just kind of standing here in a park, uh, and people are probably out in the bars over there like, who is this guy out there just talking right now? And I really don't care.
No, who gives a care? Who gives a care? You're talking to me. So, yeah. If you don't know me, my name is Michael, and I'm an interviewer. I've been interviewing wrestlers for a bit of part of 9 years. So, um, so on Michael's Corner, I will ask all the hard hitting questions, and if you don't feel comfortable asking answering the questions, you can say pass, or you know, and or we'll save that for a later episode. Okay.
Yep, it was all good. I'm pretty open. I'm an open book. So
All right. So My first question is, how did you get your start in wrestling?
Well, how I got my initial start, you know, first of all, you gotta fall in love with the business. And I
Mm-hmm.
say, I probably have loved professional wrestling since I was in diapers, but the real way I got into the business, I heard of Black and Brave Wrestling Academy back in about 2014, 2015. And when they started up around my area, because I live about 30 minutes from the Quad Cities where the actual school is, and I wasn't too sure. I was like, maybe I could do this. But right around the time WrestleMania 31 happened, where Seth Rollins, a guy from Davenport, Iowa, initially from Buffalo, which is probably 15 minutes roughly from me, wins the WWE title. And I was like, okay, I can do this. That was kind of the initial mark. It was like, if he can go from Buffalo, Iowa / Davenport, Iowa to there, I can get a start in this business.
Mm-hmm. So, let's talk about your friendship with JT Energy. How did you guys meet up?
Well, initially back in the day, he was looking for people to ride with him to other shows. Kind of like, well, I'll give this kid a chance. And he messaged me about riding with him to some future shows, do the work, pay your dues, help set up at places and all of that. So
Mhm.
I don't remember the first place we rode to together, but we've ridden to a lot of places like Central Empire Wrestling. That's one of the places we actually rode to. There's a place
Yeah.
called Zawa Live in Illinois, 3XW. Um, there's a lot. It's probably like
Yeah.
10. So,
Mm-hmm.
and over time, it kind of, we're rivals in that case. So like, I've probably faced JT Energy the most out of anyone in the industry in singles action. I probably faced him about a majority of my matches.
Mm-hmm.
So, initially, like he was kind of the one that was a little bit of a support system. Like he was somebody I'd go to asking, what can I do better here? What can I do better there? So initially, it was more of me asking for advice on what I can do better and what I can do to get noticed more as we got
Yeah.
bigger.
So, you two had a match. I think was last year. Tell me how that went down.
Oh, the first time I main evented for a heavyweight title. That was if it was anybody else, I probably would have been nerve wracking. But since it was him, it was definitely hello people. But anyways, how it initially went down, we were like, okay, we're gonna go out here and we're gonna wrestle, and, get our match in. That was definitely a night I needed to prove myself as one of the guys of Central Empire Wrestling, and to be against him was just hey, this should be a walk in the park. I can do this easy. It was nerve wracking, but as soon as we did it and wrestled that match, like it was easy. Like we got everything out of it that we wanted, and not only did it, make him look as a strong as a champion, but it established me as one of the guys down at Central Empire Wrestling.
Hmm. Okay. So, now we're gonna get a little personal. Okay.
Oh,
So, if that's okay,
yep, that's fine.
you are a cancer survivor. Am I right?
Yes.
Can you explain more about what um how did you found out that you had cancer and how the treatment and the prognosis and everything like that? Tell us how you beat cancer because that is really important, that people knows about this,
Yeah. So it's funny how we found out about it because, like, it's the weirdest way I think anyone can find out that you have cancer. I was in a wrestling match out in Indianapolis. We were in a scramble match, and it's my first year of wrestling, like very first year, just a couple months in the business. We're doing dives. I do one. Um, excuse me. We're getting up, getting ready to catch another guy. Guy that's my former tag team partner, who doesn't live too far from me, JP. He's bent over, but I'm like bent over top of him, and he had long hair in them. He goes to flip the hair out of his face, but he catches me on the chin, and it was really hard. Like, I saw stars for a moment, but so
Mm-hmm.
that's where it initially started, because the very next day, the side of my face, like right here, was all swelled up. So I was like, I don't think I broke my jaw. I don't think I did this or that. So, and I'm like, at this point, I didn't have health insurance, so I was reluctant to go to the doctor for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I go, and they basically like, oh yeah, it must be a sport related injury. Give it another month. Then I had two lumps out of my face, and they're like, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a CT scan on it. So that's
Mm-hmm.
when they initially found out it was cancer. Then we had to do a biopsy to find out what type of cancer it was. It was just a full on process. It took about 3 months to find out what it was. And it was it was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, so it was blood cancer.
Oh my God.
So it's a fast traveling cancer if you don't take care of it very quickly. Um,
Oh my God.
so
Because I know some, I know my late sister, she had leukemia when I was little, and she lost all her hair due to chemotherapy. So she was able to beat leukemia.
mm,
Um, I don't remember because I was just little at the time, but I think it took a year for her to recover, and get her hair back, and she beat it and whatnot. So, and I also have a lot of friends that also had that disease. Um, wow. She lost all her hair. Well, actually, she shaved her head because she was going through chemo anyways. Because when you go to chemo, you'll lose your hair anyways. So,
yeah, that's kind of what happened to me. So I was going through it at first, just hitting everything gas to the floor at that point. Uh, it took a couple of months when I was starting to lose my hair, but the first thing, I didn't really care if I lost my hair up here, but I lost my beard, and it was coming in, and I was actually kind of devastated. It was like, oh God, I'm gonna look like a baby face and all of that. So then my beard falls out. So then my hair up here starts falling out within a couple of months. So I'm like, I'm just gonna shave it all off. And I mean,
mhm,
with the whole process itself, they told me if I wasn't in the physical condition and, like, shape I was in, I probably would have been taken out a lot longer in the process. I actually ended up getting into remission about 3 months after diagnosis.
Oh my God.
So
Well, congratulations on getting in readmission because that's a big deal, you know. And I know it's a touchy subject, but yeah, I just want to get it out there so people can hear your story and whatnot.
as
So,
it is a story I like sharing with everyone because I mean, I like to think of it as like an example of if I can do this, like take inspiration from this story and apply it to anything in your life. If he can do this, why shouldn't I be able to, do anything that's coming in your life that's worth achieving or just any aspect of it. Not just one thing. I really like helping people see all the good in life. That's just the type of person I am, and that's the thing about that story I like sharing about it. I have no idea what that was.
oh my God.
I can tell you that's not a gunshot.
Oh my God.
That
That's the
sound
last thing I want to hear.
that's definitely not. That was I think it sounded like a semi. I'm looking around now. I think it was just a semi. It's homecoming, so for the
Yeah,
high school, so it's super busy here tonight.
yeah. So anyhow, so you know, what wrestling promotions have you wrestled, and there are any other are you wrestling this month, or if so, would you like to let people know?
The places I've wrestled at, I've my home place that I'll always go to because it's where I got my start. SCW Pro around the Quad Cities area. Go to Iowa
Mhm,
City. They're running this month. The next Saturday on the 8th will be in Walcott at the Walcott Coliseum for Wicked
mhm,
Ways. I will be there, and it's a Halloween themed show, so who knows what I'm gonna bring? Because I got something planned, just a little for the people that are gonna go and that are here or listen later. I got
mhm.
something planned. It's just you just got to go to the show and find out. Um,
Exactly.
the other promotions I've worked for, the main one that I work for is Central Empire Wrestling, as that's another promotion here in Iowa. I've
Mhm,
I've done some pretty cool things there. I've wrestled uh, Gangrel in a match. I tagged with
mhm,
Bushwhacker Luke, and just adding to that resume down there, and really making like I went from being like a tag team guy there to kind of the one of the cornerstones of that promotion.
yeah.
Another place I wrestle, yeah, down in Kansas City area, more specifically Olathe, Kansas. I think that's how you pronounce it. I've
Okay.
been wrestling for Trailblazer Championship Wrestling. They just started their promotion, so it's kind of an
Mhm,
upstart, but they got something really special going on down there, and I'm glad they brought me in to be a part of it. And I'm kind of
mhm,
I'm one of their bigger baby faces down there as the evolution of my character to where I am now. It's kind of funny how it worked to that point. But
mhm.
there's another place that I'll be working at within the next couple of months. No Regrets Wrestling up in Wisconsin. You know,
Mhm.
these are kind of the four main ones that I've been wrestling. I've wrestled multiple other places too. 3XW, which they have a show going on right now in Des
Oh
Moines.
wow,
So
wow.
that's actually where JT Energy is at. My coach is Merrick Brave is actually facing my other coach Crotch tonight in Des Moines right now. I mean, that's one. I was like, as soon as they mentioned that, I was like, oh, that's gonna be a good one. So
So
yeah, so there's other promotions too. Just I don't know if they're still running because I think they may have closed with some. I don't want to say COVID because you know what that did to the wrestling industry as a whole, but I think some other problems happened besides that.
yeah. So in Minnesota, which I'm staying, I just went to a wrestling show last night, Steel Domain Wrestling. That was in Bloomington, Minnesota. They had a great show, um, new setup and everything, you know. So I pretty much loved it, you know. Wrestling action was great. Um, two new champions were crowned, and yeah, I mean, if you want to come to Minnesota, and if you want to come down to wrestle for Steel Domain Wrestling or Midwest All Star Wrestling or American Wrestling Federation or MIW, Minnesota Independent Wrestling, you know, go on social media, let them know.
Uh,
Let them know.
Next
And
year,
yeah,
yeah, next year I have some plans of where I want to wrestle, like for goals. I want to start getting into Minnesota next year as
oh my God.
it's one of the Midwest territories. I got a couple
Mhm.
of friends that go up there too. Mainly one of the good guys that I actually miss talking to, even though he gives me a lot of crap. The front man, Jasi. It's been running Minnesota pretty well up there. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. We got a lot of wrestling promotions in Minnesota that you really would like, you know. Those four promotions that I just mentioned, you know, they're all on social media. So check them out, see what they can do for you, you know, because they love to bring in new talent, see what you can bring to the table. And you never know. I might film your match. So you never know.
yeah, I would, yeah, I have so many like goals I have for next year, and getting in Minnesota is one that's very achievable because it's within driving distance for me. Couple of hours doesn't hurt, but
Oh
no,
no.
no, it
No.
don't hurt. Nothing hurt like that. There's some guys who are like, oh, let's just fly that way, and I was like, if I'm flying anywhere, I'm flying to Texas. That's another place I want to get down to and wrestle. I actually absolutely love Texas, just for the environment. As I went down to WrestleMania this year, and I just loved everything down in Texas
Mhm.
besides WrestleMania itself. Uh, and not to mention, I just got a promotion following me on Facebook, and I was like, what I don't know if this is a state. Come to find out, it's Nova Scotia, Canada, this promotion's located in. And I'm like, if I get a passport, I can go to Canada.
Yeah, and yeah, speaking of Canada, oh my God, the CWE, Canadians Wrestling Elite, um, I know the owner of that promotion, Danny Duggan. He's the owner of that, and oh my God, I'll tell you, he is one of the most nicest and most greatest guys that you'll ever meet, guaranteed. And he doesn't mind booking wrestlers from out of, you know, out of state or, and whatnot. So, yep, he's on social media as well. So,
It that's actually really cool to know too. Okay, so this is a weird story. I don't know if a lot of people know, but that pay attention to my stories. I'm going to tell you this, but at my actual day job where I work, we just got a new worker there, right? And then
mm-hmm,
people tell him I'm a professional wrestler. And he's like, "You're a professional wrestler?" And he has a Puerto Rican accent. He's like, "Do you know who Savio Vega is?" I'm like, "Yes, I know who Savio Vega is." And he's like, "That's my uncle." I'm like,
what?
"What? That's your uncle?" He's like, "Yeah." And then he pulls up a whole bunch of pictures of them together in Puerto Rico, here in the States and everything. It's like, if you want, I'll send your details to Savio Vega and maybe you can wrestle in Puerto Rico. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, oh my,
Whoa!
I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Where's all this coming from? Why? I, he starts telling me all these stories about also like some backstage stories he's heard from Savio about, how the old WWF locker rooms were with the BSK crew and the clique and all
Mhm.
that. And I'm like, man, no wonder they say it was hard knocks in the locker room back then. Everybody wanted to rip each other apart.
Oh no!
I was
But
like,
I know who Samuel Vega is. Yeah, I like him. When I was little now, I used to be the fan of his, and to this day I'm still a fan. Samuel Vega is a great wrestler.
he is really a really good wrestler.
Yeah.
The one thing when I started getting into wrestling, I was kind of in that era where he wasn't doing much, but my favorite wrestler of all time is Stone Cold Steve Austin. I
Oh
have
hell yeah.
so I have, DVDs and everything. One of the DVDs was The Legacy of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Has a whole bunch of his matches on there. One of them is his Caribbean strap match with Savio Vega.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched that and I'm like, this match is really good. Come to find
Mm-hmm.
out, backstory, I think they were just talking to each other in the ring. I'm like, wait, you mean to tell me they didn't plan any of that? They're just going out there on fly, just
Mm-hmm.
calling it on the ring. And it's like, well, yeah, because the original pay-per-view the power got knocked out. So then they had to redo it and all of that.
Oh,
So it was interesting facts to know about that, which is it. It it's such a cliche saying. It's a small world after all.
mhm. Yes. Yes, it is. So now my next question to you is, if it were up to you, who would you, it could be anybody. Who do you want to face if given the chance or the opportunity?
Uh, Depending on what level it is, if it was like Midwest, like if you want to talk about big independent wrestlers in the Midwest, I think
Mm-hmm.
two main guys, they're Minnesota guys too. Two main guys I probably should have matches with Darren Corbin, because really good heel, really good character, and I feel like there's just magic to be built in that. I met him a couple months ago actually. He did a SEW Pro show a couple months ago here. But the second guy I actually also met, and I shared a beer with him, Eric Cannon.
Oh hell!
I would love to wrestle Eric Cannon. Really good wrestler, really good talent, and it's.
I'm sorry. I gotta laugh at that.
I mean, that's one guy that's like, well, that'd be great. he does his beer drinking gimmick, but if you want to talk about all around, like, special talents outside of, like, levels and everything, I'm leaning towards Matt Cardona.
Okay,
I
all
feel
right.
like that would be a good match to have on the independent level.
Mm-hmm.
If I got to do AEW Dark, I don't know who I'd. If you want to talk about those guys, big dream match from AEW is probably Jon Moxley.
Okay.
But WWE,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd be ridiculous if I didn't say I'd want to face Seth Rollins because, coach versus
Yeah.
trainee. That would be.
Yeah. Oh hell yeah. Oh hell yeah. If Seth Rollins wasn't under contract with WWE, oh my God, I would love to see the face Seth Rollins because then I might film that match. You know, and
It's
get lots of hits on YouTube.
it's funny how it works too. Like, you see everybody he's trained and who's come in with the industry. One of the examples, Nathan Fraser, who's in
Okay.
NXT right now. When he was going through the independent scene, he came down through our area and everything, and to see how he wrestled where I was at to where he is now, it's like that he was destined to go there, and that would be really cool to see how far he goes too. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, just in all possibilities, like, there's so many wrestlers I'd love to face. Seth Rollins is one of them in WWE, but the other guy,
Yeah.
I'll probably get heat for this. I'd want to wrestle Roman Reigns.
Ooh.
Two cancer
Now that
survivors fighting each other. That would be
yeah. Just
something.
don't forget to acknowledge him, or you'll get heat from him, you know.
Of course, I mean, man, I still.
Oh, speaking of Roman Reigns, I'm sorry to interrupt. Speaking of Roman Reigns, it was about 2, 3 years ago. He also had cancer. So,
It was,
oh my God!
yeah,
And when he made that announcement, legit, my I was just emotional. I kind of, I just, you know, I broke down to tears because I it dates back what my sister had been through and whatnot. But luckily, he didn't lose his hair, like my
yeah,
sister. So,
yeah. So the one thing I can take away from that whole experience with watching Raw and seeing that, I was like, that's a man that just got, you know, who's been in remission, hasn't told anybody this, and it came back, and he was WWE World Champion and has to go fight this now. I'm like, this is a man that's at the top that has to put everything on hold just to get better. And I was like, that kind of
yeah,
that kind of hit
that
me pretty hard too.
hit me, and I can agree with you too because it hit me so hard. You talk about a guy, top babyface of the company, was just defending the title against with anybody and everybody who steps in his path. And for that to be all taken away just because of that very reason, it not only it did stun me, but I just broke down. I cracked, you know. And it's like I know what people might think. Oh man, don't man shouldn't be crying. I was like, You know what? Men can go through stuff too, and it's okay to cry, It's okay
Absolutely.
to be emotional. Don't let anybody tell you that it's it's not okay to cry or do this or do that. Don't let anybody tell you that
Th- That makes,
because
yeah. So since you mentioned that, that brings me to this story from WrestleMania. When I was sitting there, right? I've been telling my
Mhm,
fiance this for a while. She went with me. My parents were there too. My parents were sitting in a different row though. They gave me closer row seats, and I kept telling my fiance, as soon as the Undertaker comes out, you better be ready. She's like, why? And I'm like, I'm probably gonna get emotional. And it was night one. The bell tolled for the Hall of Fame, celebration. And I'm just
mhm,
like, oh my God. And I was bawling like a baby. And there's this guy who's making fun of me. And I'm like,
mhm.
I looked at my fiance. I whispered in the ear, I, I'll keep it PG for you. But I said, this guy can go F himself.
Oh, go ahead. You can cuss. I don't care. This
Yes.
is no holds bar.
Yeah. So I'm like,
No hold. Mm-hmm.
if, if, no, I got
I,
so emotional in that point because that's a guy I just, from when I was a baby to now, I've watched him on TV ever since he's been there, ever since I was born. And you want my wrestling top three, my top two, Stone Cold's my number one. Number two is The Undertaker. Number
okay.
three is always a toss up, though, because I would say Kurt Angle because I was an amateur wrestler years
I,
ago. And
I, I'm glad that you said that. I actually met Kurt Angle last year at Midwest All Star Wrestling Grand Slam 3 last year. And I met Jerry the King Lawler. Both of them are nice guys. And I got photos of them too, you know.
yeah, I meant, speaking of Jerry King Lawler, one guy that's still like super humble, just the fact that he actually got to face Jared King Lawler in a match, JT Energy. And I'm like, how did
Yeah.
you feel that you got to face Jared King Lawler? He kind of just like, I got to face Jared King Lawler is really cool. And then you could see in the eyes, it's like, oh my God, I actually got to wrestle Jared King Lawler. It was kind of the same thing for me when I got to face Gangrel. And it's funny how
Okay.
that worked because that's when Seth Rollins was facing Edge, and Edge did the Brood entrance like literally 3 weeks before I was facing Gangrel. I'm like, why, why is this adding up right now? He's facing a Brood Edge, and I'm facing the leader of the Brood in a tag team match weeks later. And I'm like,
You
it's like, wow, hmm. The
you gotta be ready for it. You gotta be ready because anything can happen, you know.
yeah,
And yep, that's how, that's just part of the territory, You gotta be ready because, you know, once you're in, once you get out to that ring and when the bell rings, you got it's all business, and what
absolutely.
so so now my next question to you is if you wasn't wrestling right now, I mean, I'm gonna say that for later. Um, so what do you do when you're not wrestling? What what does Jared Thumb like to do on his off days?
I'm I like to keep it pretty simple. I like hanging out with my fiance when I get time to do that. Play with my dog. take care of my house and everything. I'm a really big outdoors man. I just got my hunter safeties, my hunting license back this year, so I can finally go deer hunting this year. Looking forward to getting back in the stand to do that. What I yeah, I like going around. I like staying at home, watching movies, hanging out with the family. Just working out as well. Going to the gym is one of my biggest hobbies.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
think my favorite thing to do right now is uh, just doing anything with my fiance
Yeah.
because I absolutely I love seeing her happy because
Mm-hmm.
I could tell her, I could tell you with the amount of wrestling I do sometimes, she's
Mm-hmm.
always supports me. But
That's good. That's good that you have your fiance support you. Whatever you do, she's right there, and that's great. That's great because you know, you just want family comes first. Remember that family
exactly.
always before anything. So if she's not, if she, like I said, the worst case scenario, if she's not happy, then you're not happy, then then everything will crash at the end.
Yes.
So I'm glad that she supports you, and I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart, you know. So and like I said, my final question is, if you was let's just say you're done with wrestling completely. What would Jerry Thumb be doing if he was just totally done with wrestling?
That's a pretty tough question. So,
Mm,
uh, I'd probably, at some point in my life, I'm getting married. I want, obviously want kids. I'd probably be, even if I was in wrestling, I'd be that very supportive father and everything of that sorts. But,
mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I'd
I
probably say,
definitely, I could definitely see you doing. You since you like the outdoors, and since you like hunting, I could see you doing that. You know, doing that, or you know,
I,
working.
now that I think about it, if if I was done wrestling completely, I'd probably be going all over the country hunting. I'm a
Yay!
really big
Travel. Yeah.
exactly.
There
Uh,
you go.
one of my bucket list hunts I want to do. It's the first one I want to do. Uh,
Mhm.
I'm obviously going to go whitetail deer hunting this year. But my bucket list hunt that I want to do first before I put any other hunts on, I want to go black bear hunting. Like
Oh wow.
that's a predator hunt that I people tell me it's really intense when you're hunting bears, and that's if you're not careful, they can get you. But people are
Yeah.
like, don't. So that's like one of the hunts I'd absolutely love to do. Only thing I wouldn't like is being in territory where there's a pack of wolves.
Oh my God.
Just because if there's one gray wolf around, there's probably 20 others.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. All right. Well, before I end this episode, um, I like to end. I like to do this game where I name a few wrestlers. You tell me what you think of them. If If you don't like this wrestler, you can say pass. That's what I always like to do towards the end of each of my interviews, you know. So, are you ready? I'm gonna
Yep.
name a few. Number one, JT Energy.
He's, he's been a coach to me, really, but the performer himself, over the top. And what I mean by over the top, when he makes his entrance, your eyes are fixed on him, whether he's a good guy or a bad guy. You're going to be doing something when JT Energy comes out.
Mm-hmm. Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins, when he was the architect, good wrestler, as the
Mm-hmm.
drip god with the character he is now, I
Mm-hmm.
think he found his stride. I think he's absolutely phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Darren Corbin.
I think he gets the right reactions he needs as a bad guy. And I think people really hate on him too much, honestly, because I personally think he's a pretty decent wrestler.
Mm-hmm. And you know, I'm glad that you mentioned that because Darren Corbin, even if he's a heel, you know, he's like a freaking comedian, you know.
Yes.
He's just, oh my God. Like a couple weeks ago, or 2, 3 weeks ago, when I went to that AWF show and I was filming some of the wrestling action, you know, what he did was after he did this one move where he ran through the ropes and does this move towards his opponent, he he just did it with perfection and came after me and he was trying to grab my phone and I kind of pushed him away, but he started just grabbing my phone because he knows that I'm filming all of this and the fans were just laughing their butts off, you know. So he makes a good heel, you know.
Absolutely. Like, there's so many guys that don't get credit where it's due. And I feel like he's definitely one of them because I watch his stuff and I absolutely love what he does for it.
Number four is Eric Cannon.
Eric Cannon. So I watch a lot of his older stuff and I'm like, he's pretty cool. He's pretty nuts back then. But I saw one match that he did last year against the Shane Hollister, and really good story told match. Nothing too uh, overdrawn that didn't need to be there. I think he's a really good storyteller and knows where everything belongs. So, really good wrestler.
Mm-hmm. And last but not least, Roman Reigns.
Everybody can hate on me for this. Roman Reigns is at the top of the level right now. He's at the top of the mountain, and it's going to take somebody special to knock him off. Like, whether you love him or hate him, if you're
Mm-hmm.
reacting for him, he's doing something right.
Yeah. All right. Somebody telling me in the comments to the phenomenal figures. That's Jaron. He asks. He wants me to tell you, The Rock or John Cena.
That's always a tough one
Yeah.
because when WrestleMania came around, I was Team Rock all the way. But when I was a kid, I have a John Cena autograph at my house.
Mm-hmm.
But I see myself more Team Rock.
Okay, me too. I like The Rock. He was one of my favorites as a teen and young adult, and I'm still a big fan of his. And he's a great entertainer. He's great on the mic. I mean, this guy can do it all in the
Uh,
ring.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, where can wrestling fans find you on social media?
On Instagram, I believe it says Jared underscore thumb there. Yeah, just Jared underscore thumb. Uh,
Okay.
it's the same for Facebook. It's just Jared thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And I
All right.
have a YouTube as well. It's Jared thumb
All
as
right.
well.
Let's ask one final question before we wrap it up. Jaren says, "What's it like performing at Central Empire Wrestling?"
It's a next level experience for me as I get to kind of experiment with more things that uh, some places I wouldn't be able to, be able to do what I initially want to do. Uh, it's a very good locker room as nobody's in it to just get themselves over. Everybody's working to make every part of that show special. Uh, like the last show we just did, I hope it gets put on YouTube soon, but uh, every match, top to bottom, really good show. Uh, I had a match against the Candyman Willie Sweet, and
Um,
I don't fly or anything. I'm a brawler, so I
mhm.
really Stone Cold Steve Austin wrestling styles. So smash mouth, hit faces, my
Woo.
finishing move. So, um,
Mhm.
but you know, it's a really good locker room to be a part of, as it's not just a bunch of friends gathering for another wrestling show. It's like family.
Yeah, yeah. And one of these days, before the pandemic hit, my one of my goals, this was before everything shut down and whatnot. One of my main goals was to go to Central Empire Wrestling, go to one of their shows, and then all of a sudden I have everything planned, and next thing you know, COVID hit and it shut everything down. Everything was shut down.
I do remember that because
But
I
but
wrestled.
everything,
Oh,
yeah, everything now starting to open back up. So maybe you never know, Jared, you know, I could be, I could make my trip to Iowa. I want to see what Central Empire Wrestling is all about because that's been one of my goals is going to wrestling shows out of state. And you better believe in 2023, I'll be that'll be one of my goals. I'll just go to the shows, even if I have to fly there. I want to be there to see it up close and personal. So,
there's
all
some
right, well,
pretty
all
good.
right, Jeremy. Um, you're welcome to be on Michael's Corner anytime, and it's great getting to know you and what you're all about. And yeah, and if you want to do this again, hit me up. Hit me up ahead of time, so I can inform people, and that's about it. Okay.
Alrighty.
Yep, and you can tell everyone, about, Michael's Corner, or tell the guys in the back about Michael's Corner, and if they want to be on it, tell them to hit me, hit me up on, the messenger, and I'll, get everything planned, set up for them. So,
All right. Yeah, I got a couple of
you,
guys you might enjoy. So
all right, hey, you hit me up in the DM, let me know, and I'll find them on social media, get in contact with them, and see if they willing to be on my show, and the rest is history.
sounds good to me.
All right, well, you have yourself a good night, okay?
You too. Thanks for having me again.
Yep, my pleasure. Well, that was an interesting interview. Like I said, I just love interviewing these wrestlers because, especially the wrestlers who I don't know now, because this is what I do. I love interviewing wrestlers, gain you know getting to know them and whatnot, and this is what I love to do. This is my passion, and I'm not gonna let anybody tell me any different. So I do these interviews for my YouTube audience and Instagram audience, and this is I love it. I'll be doing more of these this month. So, all right, you guys. Well, I'm about to wrap up this episode of Michael's Corner. Um, Take care, you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Michael's Corner.